Good morning, good people of Christ Church. We are in mid-Lent, and if we were in the church, we would notice the liturgical color is rose. This is Refreshment Sunday, also known sometimes as Laetare Sunday, coming from the Latin word laetare, which means to rejoice. So things are a bit lighter in mood on this Sunday, but nevertheless, the liturgical season of Lent is a penitential season. And so the music and hymn choices tend to reflect both of these concepts. So the first of two hymns that I want to share with you today is number 440 in the hymnal 1982. This hymn, Blessed Jesus at Thy Word, is another of the musical gifts that we have inherited from the Lutheran tradition. It first appeared in a book of poetry in the mid-17th century and was in the section of that book called Before the Sermon. We know this hymn in a translation by Catherine Winkworth and in music that was composed by a German composer and organist and Lutheran church musician, Rudolf Alla. Alla assumed the post of organist of a church in Mühlhausen, Germany, which many years later was assumed by Johann Sebastian Bach. So now we sing hymn 440. If you wish to sing from home, please plan to sing verses 1 and 2 following my introduction. Stanza 3. When we first envisioned this aspect of our Sunday mornings, I was going to be in the church at the organ, but we are not in the church with the organ. I had planned to play a setting of that hymn that we just sang by Johann Sebastian Bach. And I'm still going to play that setting, albeit on the piano. As you know, music for the organ involves parts for each of the right hand and the left hand, and another part for the pedals played by the feet. So in this particular rendering at the piano, Susan will play the pedal part, helping me to realize the whole piece. So this is a very lyrical setting of the hymn you just heard. You remember the hymn began this way. In Bach's ethereal and rather beautiful setting, he creates lots of embellishment and ornamentation of that melody. So just that phrase sounds like this in Bach's hands. So you hear all of this wonderful embellishment. Underneath this beautiful melody that Bach has provided, there's just a relatively straightforward harmonic accompaniment played by my left hand and by Susan playing the pedal part. So this is Bach's setting of Blessed Jesus at Thy Word. For the second hymn this morning, we're going to look at a hymn, number 490 in the hymnal 1982. This is an example of a contemporary American hymn, and it's one of the many examples in American hymnody where the same person wrote the text and composed the music. This is a well-known and much-loved hymn by Kathleen Thomerson. And the text that Kathleen has written is really a scriptural meditation and prayer and stands really as a statement of her own personal faith. It was written by Kathleen in 1966 in the summer when there was a great heat wave and an airline strike, and those two things conspired to require Kathleen to take her mother, who had been visiting her in St. Louis, back home to Houston. And they decided, in light of the airline strike, that they need to do this in their car. So they set off on their journey, and during the journey, some of the text of this hymn came to Kathleen in her mind, and she began to think about melodies. And when they finally got to Houston, she was able to use her mom's piano and complete writing this piece. It's a rich, very biblically rich text based on images of light. I think you all know this hymn well, so plan to sing stanzas 1 and 3 of hymn 490, I Want to Walk as a Child of the Light. I'll just play a little at the end of the refrain as our introduction. Stanza 1. Stanza 3. Have a very pleasant day.